So here we are, circumference of a circle. Circumference of a circle is like the perimeter of the circle. It's the distance around the outside. And the nice thing is that you've done this before a lot. In middle school, probably even in elementary school, you learn the word radius and diameter. Do you remember where a radius starts? Right, it starts at the center of the circle and it goes to the edge of a circle, from the center to the edge. So that's the radius there. And the diameter goes from edge to edge through the center. From edge to edge through the center. So if I look at this picture, do you agree that the radius is 2 feet? And then what would the diameter be? Right, 4 feet, 2 plus 2. So the diameter is always 2 times the radius. Diameter equals 2 times the radius. Now I say the bigger word goes with the bigger number. In the next one, they're giving me the diameter is 16, so I'm going to cut it in half to get the radius. And don't forget the units. Plain units for radius, plain units for diameter. We've talked already a lot about pi, how pi is an irrational number that never ends, right? And we have 2 versions of pi that we use. In exact, we're going to use the pi symbol, not the 3.14. And in approximate, we're going to use the 3.14 and not the pi symbol or the pi key on the calculator. Actually type the numbers 3.14. So that'll be more clear as we keep going here, but circumference is the distance around the circle, like the perimeter. Do you remember the formula for circumference? The formula for circumference is pi times diameter. Now you might have learned that as 2 pi r, which is the same thing, because 2 times the radius is the diameter. But I find that students do better with pi times diameter. We're going to do each question in both exact and approximate. So first we get the radius and the diameter down, 7 and 14. Exact says pi times diameter. And we're going to write that 14 pi centimeters. I purposely put a little space between the pi and the centimeters. People sometimes get confused about the units. They'll think that pi are the units or pi are part of the units, but pi is really a number standing for a number, a symbol that stands for a number, and that should be written next to the other number. And then the units are a little different, so they're written a little bit further out. If I want to do the approximate circumference, I replace the pi with 3.14 and times 3.14 times 14, 43.96. And centimeters is the units because just like perimeter, circumference has plane units. Plane units. In number 4, the 20 is representing the diameter, so the 10 would be the radius. If I do exact circumference, pi times 20, or 20 pi feet. Approximate circumference is 3.14 times 20. You never use both, right? You take out the pi, you replace it with the 3.14, 62.8 feet. Sometimes we'll have you go backwards here. So it says that the circumference is 12 pi. I like to write the formula. Pi times d equals 12 times pi. If I divide both sides by pi, I get that the diameter is 12 centimeters. Therefore, the radius is 6 centimeters. Here, it's going to be an approximate one because there's no pi symbol. So 3.14 times d equals 628. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3.14 on my calculator. And this is going to be 200. So the radius is 200 centimeters, diameter. So the radius is 100 centimeters. Almost done. arc length is a piece of the circumference. I'm just going to abbreviate that. A piece of the circumference, or I say a slice of pizza crust. It's just going to be one section of the circumference. Maybe that's a better way to say it, section of the circumference. And what we're going to do is do a fraction, I'll show you what we mean by fraction, times the circumference. So the fraction is going to be the part of the circle that's highlighted. But first, let's get the circumference. So, and then here I didn't say exact or approximate, so it's kind of your choice. I'm more of an exact girl, so I'm going to do the first couple at least in exact. The diameter here is 10 centimeters, therefore the circumference is 10 pi centimeters. What fraction of the circle is shaded in here? Right, half. So to find the arc length, I'm going to take half of 10 pi. What's half of 10? 5 pi. Still has a pi and still has the centimeters. I like exact, I just feel like it's a little bit easier. I don't have to necessarily use my calculator. Next one, the 7 is the radius, therefore the diameter is 14 inches, making the exact circumference 14 pi inches. What fraction of the circle is shaded here? Right, 1/4. If you don't know what fraction of the circle is shaded, you could take that angle measure and divide it by 360 and reduce it. We're going to have to do that in the next couple questions to 1/4. To find the arc length, I would take 1/4 of 14. 1/4 of 14 is 7/2 or 3.5 pi inches. Now just to be fair, I can do the other two approximate. Here it's 6, right, for the radius, so the diameter is 12 feet. I'm going to do approximate, so 3.14 times 12. See, the thing with approximate is you got to get your calculator then. 3.14 times 12 is 37.68, which is fine, feet. What fraction of the circle is highlighted here? It's 1/3. If I don't know that, I could do 120 over 360 and reduce it. So I'm going to multiply 1/3 times 37.68, which is the same thing as dividing by 3. I get 12.56 feet. That's approximate. One more. Diameter here is 24. I'll do this one approximate too, just to be fair. So 3.14 times 24 is 75.36. Don't forget the units, centimeters. The fraction, I'm going to have to do this as a fraction. 45 out of 360 is actually 1/8. So I'm going to take that 75.36 and divide it by 8, 9.42 centimeters. To multiply by 1/8 is the same as to divide by 8. Obviously, this is the tougher part, the arc length, so that'll be a little bit tricky, but you do have one arc length question on the quiz, and for sure, you're going to need to know circumference of a circle.